Would that excite fight fans? Conor Benn, Amir Khan, Adam?
Listen, if that fight happens, it's a crime. It shouldn't happen at all. Amir Khan is in a very different state, a different position. I've been very vocal that I think I'd be quite happy with Amir Khan riding off into the sunset and never fighting again, given what we saw against Kell Brook. I can understand where maybe the casual audience, because of the names, would like to see that particular fight, but in my opinion, at this stage of their careers, it's not competitive. There's other fights out there for Conor Benn, especially with him being so young and on the trajectory, as he just said. I personally would love to see him in with David Avanesian. There's a European title sat there. If you want to really test yourself, let's have a go with David Avanesian. I get that there's not enough clout there maybe with Avanesian's name. There's other names that you could maybe use in order to propel your name forward in America. But
too high a risk, not enough reward, and that's the way Eddie Hearn will look at that fight. It's a great fight, but the trouble is Avanesian's got an ironclad chin. He's a mature man. There's no way that Eddie Hearn is putting Conor Benn, who's rising and rising, isn't he? He's part of that kind of cloud of mystery. He's got all the X factors. And Avanesian, I think Avanesian, he could beat Avanesian, but it's too high a risk. And that's how Eddie Hearn will see it.
He's at that stage now, though, where who does he put him in with? Because, you know, if you're talking about your Jerome Ennis's and people like that, or the other young kids that are coming through, they're dangerous fights as well.
Adrian Broner.
He's at that stage.
Adrian Broner, they're looking at, aren't they?
Yeah, but Broner's not really a welterweight. I get the name.
No, he isn't, but he's
not
a full-weight
world
champion. He can bring him here. He'll make a lot of noise. He's a bad boy. He's villainous.
You see, that in itself,
but that's
kind of a false narrative, because he's not a full-weight world champion, really. He's got secondary titles in a lot of them. There's a lot of myth around Broner.
The problem is, Ed, that from where Conor is now, heading upwards is shark-infested waters at 147 pounds. No. Jaron Ennis, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Virgil Ortiz, Keith Thurman. Mikey Garcia over here for me will be another really good fight this summer. And I think Ben...
Again, he's not a welterweight.
But he's not a welterweight. But Ben he's a 6-year pro with 10 amateur fights. Yes, he's done brilliantly so far, and he's taken every journeyman out they put in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's improved incrementally and exponentially. But in a way, because this O is so precious, the 20-0, whatever he's 21-0 now, Eddie won't risk it. If you were Eddie, you probably wouldn't.
You think it's too risky to put him in with Avanesian? And Simon, you're a fan of this guy Avanesian, aren't you?
Well, I've been saying, Eddie did actually mention him in a raft of fighters that he was considering for him. He mentioned Avanesian in that particular roster, because he talked about now we're at a stage now where evidently the way that he disposed of Van Herden, we need to step him up a level now. And you can't go through the gears without having some jeopardy in it.
Yeah.
Now, I take entirely Gareth's points.
No, I'm saying what they will do rather than what we should do.
No, I'm taking it both ways. I'm taking the point is that the reality of it is that if we're going to take this guy to a world title, they've got to manage him to a world title. Not the way they're going to manage Eubank Jr., which is maybe fight for a vacant one. They're going to have to fight a live one somewhere along the line.
Sure.
And the balance is can Conor get to the technical level to be able to, when he fights Crawford or he fights Errol Spence, these guys can bite down the gum shield at the same time as be technically good enough to be able to avoid Conor. Because if you look at Conor's fights, he's still quite some way away from elite level.
There's a big question mark about his genuine power at welterweight, in my view as well.
Avanesian, who's the European champion, he's technically not that great. He's just a workhorse. He's a guy that throws bundles of punches. So I agree with Simon. I think that if you're going to go up to that level, and he is at that level now, he's got to go into one live fight.
Yeah.
And for me, Avanesian would be the one that would tell us, is he ready for
European
world
champion, but I think he is world level.
That's why you've got to go for those sort of fighters. You're at the
So we
stage
think
now,
he's ready for world level. Yeah?
Who else
Conor.
is there?
Interim. He's not well for world level. He's at for that, and Avanesian falls into the gap.
Perfect
into
opponent.
that little void.
I agree with that. Perfect opponent, and I think that the boxing fans recognise that. And this is the fight we need to see: is Conor ready for that step up? I believe he is. By the way, I think he's improved that much. I know what he's like, Conor, and I know the workouts. And that last win he had against Van Heerden was a good win. He done that in
Van Heerden came with
it was
nothing.
a good win, Gareth.
No, on his record, yes.
It was still
he's been in with Jaron Ennis, and he's been in with Errol Spence.
It's the manner in which he done it. It's the manner that he done it. He got rid of him in that fashion where you go, well, you've got to go in now with Avanesian, because that is the next step up.
Yeah. This has got you guys going this morning, hasn't it? Never mind.
No, we're in a sport of opinions. That's what makes it so fascinating. He's on a pivotal moment and at a crossroads in his career. So it is fascinating to discuss.
He deserves a world title shot, doesn't he, Simon?
Well, not at this stage. He doesn't know.
No.
But somewhere along the line, if he keeps progressing, he will do. If he fights Adrian Broner, that's not a grown-up, joined-up fight. That's a showboat fight. That's the very thing he's accusing Amir Khan or Kell Brook of. It's a payday. He doesn't need that. You don't know what Adrian Broner you're going to get. Adrian Broner is a very different animal from what he once was. He needs to get paid, so he comes over and does things for very different reasons. It'll look good on his resume because it's Adrian Broner, but what will he actually learn from it?
Sure.
From a fight fan's point of view, to make this for the casual fan to understand this is very, very simple. Fight Avanesian, European champion. Become European champion, you get a high ranking with the WBC because they're linked. We hope in this welterweight division that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are going to fight undisputed championship. If Errol Spence comes through that, exactly that, those belts then, because of politics, will get disparaged. And then there's an opportunity to fight. If you're number one with the WBC, you fight for the world title. And if you beat Avanesian, you've earned it.
If he beats Avanesian, he's ready for the world title. 100%. That's the point. This is the stepping stone fight that all fighters have to go through. And we're talking about this world level, and this is elite in the welterweight division because they're all the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So you've got to box Avanesian to see if you're ready to go to that level.
He couldn't pick a harder division to be in. And then you've probably got somewhere along the line Josh Taylor dropping into that division as well.
Yeah. That's the point.
Okay, guys, well, let's agree to disagree on that one. But enjoying the debate this morning, Conor Benn, what is next for him?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.